Hey guys, Comic Book Steve here again with another haul. Happy Halloween to everyone who celebrates Halloween. It's my personal favorite holiday, but we're actually not doing anything special for it today. Last weekend we went to Salem, Massachusetts, which if you don't know is a pretty wild Halloween town due to all the history with witches and stuff. So it gets pretty crazy around the month of October. So a lot of crowds, but a lot of fun too. So we're playing it easy today. No parties or anything. I did my costume dressing up at work this week. On Thursday we had our work party. Dressed up as Spider-Man. It was pretty fun. I used a costume that was not like super professional. It was a store-bought costume at one of those Spirit mall Halloween stores. But it was probably the best one I've ever seen. It was about $50. It's like a zip up full spandex suit, not like skin tight, but close enough. And I think the biggest problems with it were that the eyes were spandex too, like the eye material. So it was a white spandex all around the eyes. So it made it really hard to see if I put the mask on. And the other problems were the back design wasn't really there. There was no red spider on the back, and the red belt around the waist of the classic design doesn't go stops at the sides, doesn't go around to the back. It's based on the Amazing Spider-Man 2 from the movie, so it's pretty close to like what the comics look like as far as like the overall design, but with those minor quibbles of not having like the back completely finished out, and uh, I'm sure that was due to like keeping it cheap, which is fine, you know. $50 is still more than I wanted to spend on a Halloween costume, but it was a lot of fun dressing up as Spider-Man. So if I ever get like a legitimate cosplay costume, which I hope to one day, I'll end up turning this one that I bought this year to like a zombie Spider-Man costume. I'll tear it up and put some like zombie makeup on underneath, so that'd be kind of fun. But anyway, so yeah, we had fun. Today we're gonna play it easy. But I got some books over the past few weeks, new releases, and some online purchases and back issues. So let's get started. We'll start with the new releases per usual. First one up is Amazing Spider-Man number 2. So Newberry is still doing their 50% off sale for anything under $3.99 or $3.99 or anything priced at $3.99 or under. So definitely went there and took advantage of that as much as possible. And it ends today, so starting in November, I won't get that deal anymore, which is a shame because it was really nice. They did it September and throughout September and October, so it was really cool, especially for new releases. Usually when there's a sale at a store, it doesn't cover like the releases for that new week. But anyway, so this one was fun. I'm kind of digging the new Spider-Man run. I do miss the down on his luck Peter Parker. This is Peter Parker as head of Parker Industries, so it's a new take on the character. I'm sure things will go wrong for him as have been hinted at the last panel of issue 1. If you read that, so I'm looking forward to where it goes. Having fun with it, and yeah, still like to see a new writer come onto the series, but for now it's fun. Spider-Gwen number 1, the regular variant, or the regular. It's not a variant, the regular cover. I still like the series a lot. The art, I do love the style. I'm not a huge fan of the way the guy does faces on every panel, but I like it enough that I'm okay with it. Overall, I love the fluidity of his art. It really looks like everything's in motion when there's like action scenes and stuff, so I think that's a lot of fun. Not a big fan of artists like this guy putting the nose on the costume for Spider-Man or Spider-Gwen or any Spider character with a full mask. But that's only in some panels where that gets annoying. But overall, I love it. I like it. Still like the storyline. I like the first series. I like this series. If you don't know by now, I'm a big fan of Spider-Gwen. I really think it's a cool concept. I'm glad it's taken off. I think the biggest problems that they're going to have going forward, you can already see in how they're doing and how they're going to do the series and like the future of the series, where they're going to have her crossing over into the regular Marvel universe fairly frequently, which is kind of annoying. I know they want to capitalize on the popularity of the character and bring her into the real Marvel universe, but they, it's like there's one side of the table that's like, well, you can't do that because then it devalues Peter's what Peter learned from Gwen dying, and then you get the other side of the argument. It's like, well, we have this really popular character, we can't just keep her. We want to have her interacting with other characters rather than just keeping her in a box in her own world. So I understand. I think it's a very fine line to walk, though. You don't want to. You don't want to bog down this storyline or any like future storylines with like, hey, on Saturday I visited some other universe, and that's totally fine. I think it takes away from a lot of her encounters and learnings and experiences where, she meets someone, she's like, oh, hey, I met you in the other universe too. So continuity-wise, it can get a little hairy. We'll see how it goes. I'm going to ramble on a lot, aren't I? But yeah, so it's still fun, but I do have some concerns about how they're going to use the character going forward. Next one, we got the toy variant for Spider-Gwen, number 1. Cool toy variant. I like these toy variants. I try not to go overboard with collecting them, but I'll grab the ones for characters that I do enjoy. So this one was fun. Then we get the Bruce Timm variant. So I paid $15 for this one at a local store on the day of release. I thought that was alright. I don't think it's one of Bruce Timm's best drawings. I think the one he had done, if you look up Bruce Timm Spider-Gwen, he did like a one-off sketch of Spider-Gwen that was really awesome, and that probably got him the gig to do this cover. I think this cover looks a little cartoonish, like not like in a good way. It looks a little like kind of slapsticky. Maybe that's not the best word, but I don't know. It just looks a little weird to me. Like I like her face, and I like the webbing, and I like the swing motion, but anything below that looks kind of goofy to me. I don't know if you guys feel the same, but I wish he had done a better job on it. I still like it. I think it's awesome that Bruce Timm did a Marvel cover. I don't know how often he's done that in the past. And I would assume that, there are other people that feel the same way about this cover, since I thought it would be a shoo-in for like a hot variant of the week, but I think you can get this for under 10 on eBay right now, and I was pretty surprised. I wanted to get the Bradshaw cover too, but they didn't have that there, so my goal was to get this cover and the Bradshaw cover. Unfortunately, my store, and I went like at like 12:30 on release day in the afternoon. The store I go to for variants did not have this cover, or the Bradshaw cover. In fact, all the Newberries that I could find in the days following did not have the Bradshaw cover. Tempted to get it off eBay. I think you can still get it for like $30, the Bradshaw one. But we'll see. I really like Bradshaw's art, so I was disappointed that I couldn't find that. But anyway, this one's still cool to have, but I think it could have been done a lot better. Then we get Guardians of the Galaxy number 1. This was probably my favorite of the new Marvel stuff that I've picked up so far. I'm not a huge fan of Bendis, but I thought this one was a lot of fun. And I really love the cover. I wish Art Adams did the interior too, but the interior artist was pretty awesome in and of themselves. And I think it's still cool to have Art Adams do the covers for this series. So that one was a lot of fun. If you are on the fence about it, I would say pick it up. I got this previews book with all the previews of like with all the older previews of books potentially going up in value because they have like a first appearance that's in the preview of the book. I figure I'll start holding on to these where I can. It's free, so no big deal. Miss Marvel number 19. The only reason I really picked this up is because it's the final issue of Miss Marvel. I do like the character a lot, but not enough that I want to pick it up on a monthly basis. it's one of those like on the fence books for me. Like I really enjoy it when I do pick it up, but if I read it too often, I get a little tired of the young adult kind of feel to it. But I do appreciate the character a lot, and when it hits its mark, it really hits. And then I got this Contest of Champions. I only got this one. This is the Ron Lim variant. I only got this because of the first like I guess U.S. print comic book appearance of this White Fox character. I think she appeared in like her first appearance was in some kind of online digital only comic that was released somewhere. Or released to some. I think the character's like a Korean character, if I'm not mistaken, and they did this like online digital book that had her in the Avengers or something. You could probably look it up online. This is their first print appearance, as far as I understand. The store I went to did have the rarer Lena Liu variant, but it was 15 and it could be an investment, but I didn't want to drop 15 on a book that I'm not like entirely sure about. So I decided to get this variant. It was cover price. I like the Grey Hulk a lot, so this one was a win for me. Not a fan of the series overall. I don't like comics that are based off video games, and this one seems like a kind of a weird storyline. Not a huge fan, but I picked it up anyway. Then we get Uncanny Avengers. I really hate the art in this. I didn't like the guy when he was on Superior Spider-Man. The only reason I got this was because it has the first appearance of a new villain, so where I can, I'll pick up first appearances of characters as they're released, just in case. You never know. The name of this guy is the Shredded Man. I don't foresee him going places, but you never know. So I thought I'd grab that. And then we got Spider-Man 2099 #1. The series is okay. I probably won't follow it. I got this issue because it has first appearance of this new 2099 costume, at least on the cover. He doesn't actually wear it in the interior. Angela, Queen of Hell. I like the premise. I haven't read the book yet, but I really like that premise of her being the Queen of Hell. So we'll see where they go with it. Spider-Man 2099 #2. I only got this because it actually has him wearing the costume for the first time in the book. I probably will not continue on to issue 3. I just don't find it that interesting, and I think it's kind of weird that they have Spider-Man 2099 in the modern day. It just takes away from the character, and it dilutes the Spider-Verse, the Spider-Man character, Peter Parker. I think having so many Spider characters that are crossing into the main Marvel universe and the main timeline. So it's a little weird. Not a big fan of that whole setup, but I do like Spider-Man 2099, so I'm glad they're using him in some form or another. I just don't find the series that necessary to keep continuing. If I hear something happening in it, I'll pick up a book. What if Dark Reign? What if Infinity Dark Reign? That's kind of weird. Two storylines in one, kind of. I got this basically for the cover. I read it or flipped through it at the store, because usually What If books are not great. The cover drew me in, but I wasn't gonna get it based on that, or solely based on that. So I wanted to make sure that the inside was at least decent. And I thought, flipping through it, I thought it looked kind of cool, and I like that. I like the art. Usually the art is one of the things that kind of drops off in these What If books. But it was adequate. I thought it was pretty good, and the writing seemed all right. I haven't fully read this yet, but it was enough for me to at least pick it up, and it was part of the 50% off sale. So I thought I'd get it now rather than buckling down and getting it later for like full price. It's a cool cover though, right? Buckling down, I think I meant breaking down and getting it later. Uncanny Inhumans #1. So I just got this because it was the #1. I do like Steve McNiven. I wanted to see where Charles Soule would go with this Inhuman series. I'm not sold enough that I want to continue it, so I'll probably just stop at this issue. Again, unless I hear of something crazy happening with it. I'm not a big not a big fan of Kang, who is the villain so far in this. Uh, his whole premise gets a little confusing, and not in a fun way. If confusing could ever be fun. Then we got Back to the Future #1. The store I went to on the release day when this came out only had one copy of this and one copy of the chibi variant where they're like baby or toddler characters, not Scotty Young, but like a Scotty Young kind of theme to it. But I didn't want that one. I thought that one was kind of silly. I really wanted the 1 in 25 or 1 in 10 variant that was like black and white. But they didn't have that. They only had the two that I just said. So this was the better of the two. So I got this one. Yeah, it's about that. Decent story. I got Straight Jacket #1. Don't usually see any indie books in my hauls. I'm on this Google Plus community for speculation on comics, and they'll put like a top books to look out for the new week. And then I didn't get this the week it came out. I got like a few weeks following, but they were saying it was going on eBay for like $30-40. So I thought I'd grab it. I saw it for $3.99 when we went to Salem. They had it in the comic shop on the shelf. So I was like, all right, I'll get it. Even if I don't like it, I can flip it for, I think it goes for like 20 now. I think it dropped a bit, but you never know with these indie books. Somebody could pick it up and it can go places. But I'm still on the fence of whether or not I want to sell it. I was walking around Salem a lot. I got this when we first got into Salem, so it was in my bag for like a few hours. So it got a little ding on the side, which really pissed me off. But overall, it stayed in good shape. So we'll see. Then same theme with that one. I picked up Sunflower #1. Got this yesterday actually. I held off for a while, but I've done that before with other books that have taken off. I remember seeing the second print of Captain Marvel 17 on the shelf in Newbury for months at this one place, and I kept like passing up on it, and of course now I regret it. It wasn't in perfect shape. It had the Newbury wear to it, but if I probably could have sold it now for like 100, 150, probably like 100 based on the condition. But this one was like $3.99. It was a slow week for me, so I thought I'd give it a chance. I think it goes for about 10 on eBay, but I'll probably hold on to it for a little while. Keep an eye on things. So that was it for the new releases. I got some books here from like a local comic shop. These next ones are gonna be from the local comic shop I went to. But a lot of the places near me are kind of drying up, or maybe I'm just getting a little more picky on what I pick up. So like where I used to get like a lot of good books in dollar bins, or a lot of interesting books, I don't find a lot anymore. So these next 3 are from the dollar bin from this store that I used to get a lot from, but I just couldn't find anything that I liked. So I got Avengers 26. The only reason I got this because I thought it was really interesting that it was still in the subscription bag, sealed. Don't usually see that. I don't think it increases the value at all. Maybe one day that'll be an interesting point. Not sure if they even do subscriptions anymore. I mean, you could argue that keeping it in this cheap subscription bag will actually cause damage to the book, which probably will. But it's not like an expensive book, so I just thought it was kind of fun to see a book in the subscription with the board from the subscription intact. So picked that up. Thought it was fun. Web of Spider-Man #20. Nothing special. Just one of the Marvel, was it 25th anniversary variants? Not variant, but like covers. This one was a buck too. X-Men Deadly Genesis #1. This is a variant edition. Not sure what the print run was on this. If this was like a 1 in 10 or 1 in 25. But this is the first appearance of Vulcan, Scott Summers' third brother, or second brother? The third Summers brother, who, isn't very popular right now. I think he's dead. I think he died during War of Kings. But you never know. They could bring him back, and it was a buck, so I figured I could spend the buck and hold it in the collection, see what happens. Not a huge fan of X-Men books, so I'm trying to offload some of my X-Men collection, but I think that one was cheap enough that I was okay with taking the loss. Then I got Amazing Spider-Man #284. I think I paid $3 for this. Didn't realize I already had it, so that was a shame, but it was still, a decent price for a 80s Marvel Spider-Man book. Let's see, and then this is another one that I got from the Salem store that I went to. There's two stores in downtown Salem. They both of them didn't really have much to speak of. This is Avengers Ultra Force #1. I think I paid $4 for this, which is you can probably find it in a dollar bin if you are patient enough. I've had this on my list for a while, so I was getting a little impatient looking for it. The significance of this one is that it's the first appearance of the 7th Infinity Gem and the physical embodiment of the gems. Let me open it up and show you what I mean. It's not, I don't even know if it's in continuity anymore. Probably not, since this was the weird Marvel Malibu universe. But that's the character. Her name is Nemesis, which is a pretty crappy name. But she is the embodiment of the gems. I think the 7th gem is the Ego Gem. And then she explains that, before the gems were split apart, there was one being that had them. That this was supposedly the being that was housing the gems before they blew apart, or whatever. But maybe one day they'll use that idea in some form or another. You never know. But as it stands right now, I think it's not considered in continuity, since this whole Avengers Ultra Force, Malibu, all those crossovers don't really get acknowledged. It was cheap enough. This one I got off eBay for, I think, a total of like $5, including shipping. Sticker says 12, but I think this is still the bag that the guy sent it to me in. So maybe he paid 12, or maybe it was a shop that was just offloading stuff. But anyway, this is the second print of Amazing 568. Passed up on this last year in New York City for $5. And I went back there this year and I didn't see it. So I was a little frustrated. So I wanted to see if I could find it for a cheap price on eBay. And, $5 is right around what I saw it for. So I thought I would pick it up. Then these next 5 are from six are from a My Comic Shop order that I did. Some of these are from the package that I never got because it got sent back. I think one or two books from that package ended up going out of stock, so I couldn't get them again. But I think most of these are from that. This is the second print of Fantastic Four 347, the first appearance of the new Fantastic Four. The Spider-Man, Ghost Rider, Wolverine, Hulk. Art by the awesome Art Adams. And I've had this on my list for a while. I like second prints a lot, especially from the 90s. I like how they did something a little different with it, rather than just giving a different color to like the bottom border like they do now. So this is fun. I love that team. What if #54? What if Death's Head 1 had lived? This is done by the original team. I believe the artist in this, it looked familiar when I was flipping through it. I believe the artist is the guy who did the art for the UK Transformers book when Death's Head appeared. I feel like every time I say Death's Head, I have a lisp. But anyway, I believe it's the artist that first drew the character when he was introduced. Definitely the writer is the original creator, and the writer has gone on to say that he was really it was therapeutic for him to do this book because he didn't like the new Death's Head 2 that was introduced, and he didn't have any part of that, so he was kind of annoyed that they had Death's Head 2 kill the original Death's Head, his creation. So this was fun, cheap book, but you know, I like Death's Head. The next one is Batman Sword of Azrael #1. First appearance of Azrael. I really like the character a lot, love the costume. I think it's one of the best costume designs ever. Shame on DC for not using this character more. I think the only thing that's probably weird about the costume design is that I think he's only got like 4 fingers in the glove. It's kind of odd for, a normal guy that has 5 fingers. I guess that's Joe Quesada's preference. I don't know. I love the costume. Wish they would do more with the character. I've had this. This is one of the books I wanted to get this year, so I'm glad I picked it up. I rushed out and got it as soon as they announced that Gotham was going to have the Order of Saint Dumas appearing in the series. Not that I think that that's going to make this book take off, but the chance that it does, I really love the character, so I didn't want to miss having this in my collection for a cheap price. I think I paid $2 for it. Then we get Doctor Strange, #61. I only got this because it's the first appearance of him in this weird 90s costume, which is, love it or hate it. I thought it was kind of neat at the time, at least a fun little oddity. So I think that's the first appearance of some that Salim villain that he fights while changing into this costume. So I thought that was kind of interesting. Then I picked up Nick Fury's Halloween Commandos. Didn't know they had this series. It's the first appearance of one of these, I think this wolf character. The book isn't that great, honestly. And it's a shame because it's kind of fun. They do these horror kind of S.H.I.E.L.D. teams. If you don't know, they're doing another one called S.H.I.E.L.D. Howling Commandos. Excuse me. That was... sorry. That I was really looking forward to. I flipped through it at the store, and I read the review for IGN. They gave it like a 3.0, and I'm probably not going to pick up the book anymore. Disappointed that they did such a bad job with it. I think it's a cool idea. I think the new series has like an LMD, Dum Dum Dugan, Zombie Jasper Stitwell, Vampire by Night, Man-Thing, Orgo, who is like a classic Kirby monster. I think there's... Teen Abomination, who's probably the dumbest character on the book. It's a shame they didn't do a good job with it. I think that would have been a premise that someone like Rick Remender or Warren Ellis would have done a fantastic job with, like really digging into like the psychology of what a LMD who knows he's not the real Dum Dum Dugan, but still other than someone telling him that and realizing that he feels like he's Dum Dum Dugan. So it's like this would have been this really great psychological kind of approach to it. But we can dream, right? Maybe someone will come in and save the book. But I won't be picking that up. I just picked this up because it was cheap and it has the first appearance of this wolf character, who's also in that new series. And the last one, oh boy, half hour. Last one is Uncanny X-Men #451. This is an early appearance of X-23. It's a second part of a two-parter where she first meets Wolverine and the X-Men. This two-parter takes place is her first 2 appearances right after her appearance in X-23 or NYX, her first series that she was in. So this is her introduction into the X-Men universe. So I thought that was pretty cool. Super underrated. With her becoming Wolverine now, I think it's cool that this is their first meeting between the two. So you can find it for really cheap. Anyway, guys, that's all I got. I babbled on for quite a bit, but it's been a few weeks, so I was overdue. Anyway, I'm going to Rhode Island Comic Con next Saturday, so I will hopefully have a haul. Like I said, I'm going to be slowing down quite a bit. I think that haul is going to be my biggest one for the rest of the year, if I find a lot of good stuff. There's a lot of things going on in my life where, we're trying to save for a house maybe, and I think one of the big things with that is I only hit everything. Uh, I'm Italian. When I talk, I move my hands a lot, so it's hard to control. Anyway, um, yeah. So one of the things I want to do next year is try to get my master's degree, and my job will help a little bit with that, but I need to pony up quite a bit. So things are getting like it's like, do I need this? Do I need to get this now? Um, so I have to make a budget for myself for I what I'm comfortable with spending, and so I can save some too. So not gonna stop, but it's definitely gonna be a lot slower. But anyway, guys, thanks for watching. Hope you're all having a great Halloween weekend. I'll talk to you all later.